Happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope your Wednesday is going well. We are at the next game on the June 21st schedule, and this is the marquee matchup of the day. The Milwaukee Brewers taking on the Toronto Blue Jays. When this series started, they were nip and tuck. Toronto won the first game behind Dave Steve, but the last two have gone to Milwaukee, so Toronto at least trying to salvage a split of the four-game series, but going to be a tough task against these Brewers. Game number 464 overall in the replay. Exhibition Stadium in Toronto, a symmetrical park. Singles are 1-9, home runs 1-11. Toronto did win the real game 7-6, so we'll see how that turns out. Milwaukee comes into the game with a record of 44-20, the best record in the league, and Toronto several games back at 42-24, 3 games back to be exact, I believe. It's either 2.5 or 3. I haven't figured it out yet. Computer will tell me when I get up there, but that's a different story. All right, so we're going to our pitching matchup. 2 right-handers. Neither one of them are top-notch, so we could get some serious scoring in this game. Joe Johnson for the Blue Jays, he comes in a record of 1-6. So a team that's 42-24. They only have 24 losses, and you have 6 of them on your record. So you've got 25% of the losses. That's not good. Chuck Krim 1-2. Hello, Miss Kathy. Happy Tax Day. Happy Jackie Robinson Day. That's going to be around baseball today, April the 15th. All right, so let's look at the Strat computer. Bring that up on the screen. And we'll get the full gory details on Joe Johnson. On the real season, he was 3-5 with a 5.13 ERA. But he's worse than that in the replay. He's 1-6 with a 5.89 ERA. 63 innings pitched. He only had 67 real world. In the replay, 63 innings pitched, but given 83 hits, 14 walks, 23 strikeouts. And let me check and see how many more starts he's going to have, because this may be one of his last starts. Let's see what he did real world. He started 14 games real world. And this will be start 13. He's got one more start after this. So this is his next to last start before, I guess, Toronto finally figures that he's not the guy they need and, I guess, demote him or whatever. So that's where that stands at the moment. I do have Toronto colored dice, or at least the best I can get. Maybe the D20 will be better now since it's a different color D20. Maybe that will help not get so many ones to show up on the screen. And as I like to do, I used to do all the time, and I just started yesterday getting back to it, looking at the previous game on the schedule for these two teams to make sure I'm not using a bullpen guy more than I should. So Mark Eichhorn pitched 2 2/3 for Toronto in the previous game, so he's going to be ineligible except for emergency. They're going to use all the other bullpen guys before they use Eichhorn. For the Brewers, Wegman went 7 1/3, so Mirabella, Clear, and Plesac are definitely well within the usage there, but we just don't want to overuse Eichhorn. So Eichhorn is going to be the last guy out of the pen, just to try to keep it realistic. Hey JG, I'd have to go back and look at it. I'm not sure what inning you're referring to or what happened. Let me pull out the score sheet. When did Noakes get injured? I don't have Noakes being injured, so I'm not sure what you're referring to, because I do not have Noakes being injured in that game yesterday. He played the whole game, so not sure exactly what you're referring to. Maybe you can specify, but this is the score sheet from the previous game that was played yesterday. That was Grubb that was injured and replaced by Matlock, not Noakes. Grubb was the DH and Matlock replaced him. So I'm not sure. That was in one. Where's that happened? I'm not sure which inning that happened in now that I'm looking at it. I should have written the one up there. I don't know what inning it was. But anyway, it's in the books now, so any error there is just going to be umpire error or whatever. I can't go back and change it now. It's already been recorded on our computer, and if Sparky wants to protest the game, he can protest the game later. Good morning, Dan. Good to see you. All right, so like I said, not the best pitching matchup in the world. Joe Johnson and Chuck Grimm. Leading off for the Brewers is Paul Molitor. Molitor hitting .365 on the replay. 8 homers, 43 driven in. He had .353 in the real season. And before the first pitch, of course, we need the ceremonial first sip. Don't want to forget that. And that is good coffee. All right, here is Mr. Molitor to lead things off. We have 3-4, and that's a ground ball to short. So Joe Johnson basically is going to need the batters to get themselves out on their own cards. That's going to probably be the best that they can do there. Here's Robin Yount. Yount, the center fielder, is hitting .310 on the replay. 15 homers, 54 driven in. He hit .312 real world. 6-11, and that's a ground ball first base X. So we're looking at Upshaw. He's a 2-11 is Upshaw. 2-11, 2 and a 15. He'll get to that. Just checking the E11, and that's a 6 for a first baseman. E11, there's a 6 right there. How do you like that? Let me do the old close-up of the error here. On a first baseman, an E11, you can see a 6 is the first number listed, 6, 18, 15, right there in the middle. So that's going to be an error on Upshaw. He was trying to get it and flip to Johnson, but he lost control of it and now didn't get anybody out. So we got an E3 on Willie Upshaw. And Robin Yount gets a gift. And let's look at the hold rating. Both 0 for Joe Johnson, so no effect on holding runners. So Robin Yount's going to try for the lead. Needs a 5 or a 6. Doesn't get it. He'll hold. And here comes designated hitter Cecil Cooper. Cooper on the replay hitting .214. 7 homers, 22 driven in. He at .248 real world. 5-6, and that's a solid straight-out double off of Joe Johnson. I'm telling you, Johnson wants all these results to go off the batter card, not his own, but this time he found it right here. Yount runs at a 16. He was being held, makes him a 15. The double went to center field, 0 arm there. 1-15. Do they send him? They're going to send him because they don't trust Deere. Deere's a strikeout guy, and he may end up not scoring at all. So they're going to try to send Yount. Since Cooper runs less than a 13, he will hold at second. He will not take third on the throw. So we're looking at this. It's a strictly 1-15 chance for Yount to be safe. I believe that's 75%. So Trevor Horn's third base coach in Milwaukee will take that 75% chance. 1-15, he's in there. And he is. So it's an RBI double off the bat of Cecil Cooper to score Robin Yount, the unearned run. And for Cooper, that's RBI number 23 on the replay. Brewers lead at 1-0, and Blue Jays already in bad trouble, showing signs of not playing their best with these errors. Here's Rob Deere. Deere hitting .233, 6 homers, 31 driven in. He hit .238 real world. 6-6, and that's going to be a double 1-7. It is a single on an 8-20, but it is a 2-star single. So Cooper will score, and just like that, it's 2-0 Brewers. And Joe Johnson continuing to struggle. Deere can get a lead with a 7. And we all know nothing runs like a deer. That's a 6, so he's not going to get it. Here's B.J. Surhoff. Surhoff hitting .329 on the replay. 6 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .299 real world. 6-2 to the lefty. That's a ballpark blast for B.J. Surhoff. It's a 1-11, but that's an 18. So just a deep fly to right. So Johnson catches a break. Maybe changing the colors on the dice and the D20 in particular. is going to help minimize those ones from showing up so much. We'll see what happens. Billy Joe Robideau, first baseman, really struggling. Plays very infrequently, but does get the start today. In 51 at-bats in the replays, hitting .235. No homers, 5 driven in. In 62 at-bats real world, he hit I believe it was 194. Yeah, 194. So he had 62 real world at-bats. This is at-bat number 52. So you can see he's near the end of his playing time. And hopefully for the Brewers, they will get their regular first baseman, Greg Brock, back from injury shortly. 3-5, and that's going to be a 1-2 single, but that's an 18. Again, the high number is going to help Joe Johnson, and it's a line out to second. So 2 runs come in, 1 earned, 1 unearned, but they all count the same. And at the end of half inning to play, it's the Brewers 2, and the Blue Jays coming to bat. And what a nice feeling it is for a visiting pitcher to take the mound for the first time and have a lead to work with. Chuck Creme de la Creme is your starter for the Brewers. He fluctuated from bullpen to rotation, but right now he's in the rotation. And in the real world season, he was 6-8 with a 3.67 ERA and 12 saves. On the replay, he is 1-2 with a 2.68 and 5 saves. 54 innings pitched, 50 hits, 13 walks, 21 strikeouts. So he's actually pitched better in the replay than he did in the real season. So we'll see how that carries out here against the tough Blue Jay lineup. Tony Fernandez, your batter. Fernandez, the shortstop, switch hitter, hitting .354 on the replay, 3 homers, 26 driven in. He hit .322 real world. That is a 4-5, and that's going to be a fly ball to right field. Hauled out there by Rick Manning, who's taken Glenn Bragg's place on this Sunday afternoon game. That's what happens on Sundays. A lot of times you get the reserves playing on Sunday because it's a day game after a night game, and certainly with catchers and everything else. For instance, Milwaukee, Schroeder caught the Saturday night game, and now Surhoff's catching the Sunday afternoon game. Same with Toronto. Ernie Witt caught the previous game. And, well, actually, he's catching both games. So that's really interesting. They would have Witt catch both games. I guess maybe he's a load that can handle it. All right, here's Lloyd Moseby. Moseby hitting .336 on the replay, 18 homers, 62 driven in. He hit .282 real world. That's going to be a 6-3, and that's a ballpark single check, 1-9, and that is a 9 right on the number. So Lloyd Moseby continues his hot hitting with a 1-out single. Now he's going to take a chance to get a lead. Chuck Creme is a -2 hole. Surhoff's a 0, so it is a -2. So if he gets the lead, still a 1-15. You're still talking a 70% chance. So he's going to try for the lead 2 through 5 to get a good lead. He doesn't get it, so moot point. And here comes Jesse Barfield, the home run leader in the replay. He's hitting .323 with 25 homers, 65 driven in. He hit .263 real world. It's 2-5, and that's going to be a ground ball to third base. Hey, that's an around the horn double play. 5-4-3. Don't have a sponsor for the around the horn double play yet. In negotiations with Dodge to figure that out, but right now we'll just call it around the horn. And either way you look at it, Chuck Creme will take it. Pitch your best friend. 5-4-3 double play ends the inning. At the end of 1, Milwaukee 2 and Toronto nothing. Johnson back out. We'll be facing the bottom of the order. Rick Manning, Jim Gantner, and Dale Swain. Manning's only had 48 at-bats in the replay at 114 real world. On the replay in 48 at-bats, he's hitting .313, no homers, 8 driven in. He only hit .228 real world, so he's definitely overperforming in his small sample size. 1-4. He's going to ground it right back to Joe Johnson for an easy out, and that's where Johnson needs to live. He needs to live on the batter cards. Here's Jim Gantner. Gantner hitting .286 on the replay, 2 homers, 20 driven in. He hit .272 real world. 5-5, and he's off his pitcher card, which is bad news for him. 1-4 is a triple, 5-20 is a double. So it will be a double for Jimmy Gantner. And on the replay for Gantner, that says eighth double. He had 14 real world. That's the eighth one for him. Brings up the ninth place hitter, Dale Swain, shortstop. Swain hitting .339, 14 homers, 43 driven in. He hit .252 real world. Not sure why the Brewers batted him ninth, because he's certainly a lot better than the ninth place hitter. I think he's wasted batting ninth myself, personally. 4-7, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Manny Lee. He's a 3E32. 3E32. 3 and an 8. Should get to that because he's not holding anybody on, so he should get to that. 3 and an 8 is a G3 pound, but again, he's not holding anybody on, so the G3 is going to be good. That's a 9, and he's an E32 at second base. E32, there is no 9 there, so it's going to be a good play from. The only play is to first. Gantner will take third. So 2 outs now, and back to the top of the order for Paul Molitor. Clutch situation for Molitor. In the clutch, he gains 1 hit on 310. Everywhere else, he is neutral. We get a 2-7, and that's a base on balls. First walk issued by Joe Johnson. And that'll take us to Robin Yount. But before we do that, Molitor has a chance to get a lead. 4, 5, or 6 will get him the lead. Doesn't get it, he'll hold. Robin Yount reached on the error by Upshaw his first time up. Again, a clutch situation. And for Yount, he is completely neutral. There are no changes to his card for the clutch. 6-2, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-9. That's a 3. Base hit, RBI single from Robin Yount. Gantner will score, make it 3-0 Brew Crew. Going to second base is Molitor. RBI single for Yount. That's his 55th run batted in on the season. He had 103 real world RBI. Makes it 3-0, and you wonder how long they can go with Joe Johnson. Here's Cooper. He had a RBI double his first time up. Clutch situation for Cooper. He gains several hits. 1-9, 1-10, 2-8, 2-12, and 3-5. He gains 5 hits in the clutch. 5 hits. Do you believe that? Wow. 5 hits in the clutch. 4-8, though. We're off the pitcher card. Ground ball to Manny Lee, and that's going to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the second with a 3-0 Milwaukee lead. Johnson has been shaky, to say the least. Krim back out. And Krim will be facing George Bell, Ernie Witt, and Willie Upshaw. George Bell on the replay hitting .296, 22 homers, 63 driven in. He hit .308 real world. Get a 5-10, and that's going to be a ballpark. I'm sorry, it's a catcher X on a 5-10. That is Surhoff, 3E5. 3-20 should be a ground out of some sort. A little nubber in front of the plate, most likely. 3-20, yep, is a G2, and that is a 9, and he is an E5. Nope, no problem there. So just a standard 2-3 ground out. A little dribbler right in front of the plate that Surhoff pounces on quickly. 1 away for Ernie Witt. Ernie Witt hitting .286 on the replay. 7 homers, 26 driven in. He hit .269 real world. 2-8, and that's going to be a solid double on a 1-10 single, 11-20, and that's an 11. So he will have to settle for a single. Took a big turn at first base, but then decided the better of it. Stays at first. He's no threat to run, will not be held. And here's Willie Upshaw. Upshaw hitting just .210 on the replay, 2 homers and 19 driven in. He hit .244 real world. And he has not been, he's been the one Blue Jay that's been a little bit sluggish. 2-11, and that's going to be a line out to first base, so snagged by Robideau for out number 2. And we'll have a trivia question at the top of the next inning, so be ready for that. Kelly Gruber steps to the plate. Gruber hitting .313, 8 homers, 25 driven in. He only hit .236 real world, so he's definitely overperformed from his third base position. 1-9, and he's going to fly at the center to end the inning. So Krim, 2 innings of solid pitching, give up 2 singles, but nothing else. We go to the third. It is Milwaukee 3, Toronto nothing. And now if you would turn your attention to the chat area, Kathy has a trivia question for us on this Jackie Robinson tax day. Hope it's not a taxing question. What other player played with both Maury Wills and Ricky Henderson? A speedster himself. Play with Maury Wills and Ricky Henderson. Wow, that's going back a ways. What did Ricky Henderson start, like in 79 or something like that? Who would have been around playing for Maury Wills in the late 60s? When you say play with, I'm assuming that means teammates. That's interesting. That is interesting. I had a guess, but I don't think it's right, so I'm going to hold off and let somebody else try. Kathy has a subliminal hit. Did this person just recently pass away? That's the guy I'm thinking of, the guy that recently passed away, but it's probably not correct. Oh, then maybe it is correct. Then my hunch was correct then, apparently, but I'll see if anybody else wants to chime in before I chime in myself. All right, so we're going to start at the top of the third. If nobody, after this at bat, if nobody chimes in, I'll give my guess. Here's Rob Deere. 3-3 for Deere, struck him out. That's the first strikeout for Joe Johnson. And Deere, of course, loaded with strikeouts on his card. He only struck out 186 times all season. So since somebody else chimed in, I'm going to say Davey Lopes. I didn't know he played with the Dodgers that early, but I knew he played with Ricky in the A's in '82. I didn't realize Maury Wills may have played. I know Maury Wills played for the Dodgers and then went to the Pirates, but he may have come back to the Dodgers. I don't know, because I'm not sure when Davey Lopes first started. Excellent question, Kathy. Surprised I knew the answer. All right, here's B.J. Surhoff. 3-10, and that's a fly to center field. 2 down. 73 Dodgers. Okay. I knew 82 with Oakland. I didn't realize that Maury Wills played for the Dodgers in 73. I did not know that. I thought he had retired by then. But that's an interesting little factoid. I'm sure he had to be like almost a player coach at that point. I mean, they're going way, way back. Maury Wills has been around since the late 50s, early 60s. So thank you for that. So we go to 2 outs, nobody on for Billy Joe Robideau. Robideau lined to Manny Lee his first time up. 2-7, and that's a strikeout. And if you hear sirens, it's because I do live right down the street from a firehouse where they have both fire trucks and ambulances and all that kind of good stuff. So and I live on a main road, not back in a subdivision. So, and I got the windows open because the weather's so nice. So you're liable to hear anything. But no, the police are not coming to get me if that's what you're thinking. Although maybe they should. I don't know. All right, here's Fred McGriff. McGriff on the replay hitting .254, 11 homers, 20 driven in. He hit .247 real world. 4-9, and that's a line out to Mr. Swain at short. 1 away. Number 9 hitter Manny Lee, switch hitting second baseman. Hitting .267 on the replay in limited duty. He hit .256 real world. 5-8, switch hitter batting left is a strikeout for Chuck Krim. That's his first. So Krim doing very well. His fatigue is only a 5, so he may only be able to give you 5 or 6 innings tops, but if he can give you 5 or 6 good ones, you can turn it over to your bullpen. Here's Fernandez. 2-8 for Fernandez. He's going to ground it to first. Robideau takes it to the bag himself. Another easy 1-2-3 inning for Chuck Creme de la Creme. He's pitching like Creme de la Creme right now. 3-0. Brewers over the Blue Jays. Brewers looking to take 3 of 4 here in Toronto and increase their lead in the American League East. Of course, the Yankees and Tigers both tied 7.5 games back since the Tigers lost to the Orioles yesterday. Here's Rick Manning. 6-6 lefty, and that's a trouble spot for Johnson because it's on his own card, and that'll be a base hit, leadoff single for Rick Manning. He can run. Even though he's a veteran, he can still run. So his chance to get a lead, though, is only with the 5. But if he gets the lead, it's a 20 sitting there, so pretty much guaranteed. But he's not going to get the lead. And we move on to Jim Gantner. 4-4, and that's a ballpark single check. 1-9. That's a 10. So we'll keep the pop up to second. Would have been a line out to second. It really doesn't matter. 1 away for Dale Swain. Swain grounded to grounded to second his first time up to end, or to move the Gantner to third where he scored on the Yount single. That's a 5-4 switch hitter, and that's an in-home run, 1-8, and that is an 8 right on the number. Dale Swain naturally with normal power since he had 25 home runs on the season. This is home run number 15 for Dale Swain, and this could be the beginning of the end for Joe Johnson. Home run number 15 for Dale Swain. 2-run shot. We'll look at it again. We will look at this again in a close-up fashion. The roll is a 5-4, switch hitter, 5-4. There you see 1-8 is a home run, and the devil dies an 8. So there you go. 2-run shot for Dale Swain. Home run 15, RBIs 44 and 45. And more importantly, the Brewers now lead it by the score of 5-0. Mahler steps to the plate. 2-5, that's a fly to center. They'd like to get 5 innings out of Joe Johnson if they can, but may not be able to wait that long. Shall see. 2 outs, base is cleared for Robin Yount. We get a 5-11, and that's going to be a ballpark single check. That's a 19, so he will line it to short. And that will end the inning, but the 2, whoops, I put in the wrong category there, didn't I? Should be up here. I got really messed up there, didn't I? Got ahead of myself. Got ahead of myself there. I don't know what I was thinking. What happens when you get old? All right. Terrible looking 2, but at least hopefully you can tell it's a 2. 5-0 Brewers. Going to the bottom of the 4th. Do it for the Jays. It'll be the heart of the order. Mosby, Barfield, and Bell. So far, Chuck Creme has kept the Jays in check. Mosby, one of the 2 singles that has been given up by Joe Johnson. .28, and that's going to be another base hit. This will be a double. That's the devil dies a 1 for the first time, so that 1 through 10 is a double. Leadoff double for Lloyd Mosby. He's 2 for 2. Here's Jesse Barfield getting to a double play his first time up. 3-4, and that's going to be a strikeout. So Barfield having a rough game. Second strikeout for Creme. That'll bring up George Bell. Bell nubbed one in front of the plate that Surhoff threw him out with. Easy play for him. So here's Bell. He can get one out in the outfield. 2-6. He can. That's going to be a double on a 1-17. That is a double. RBI double from George Bell, and the Blue Jays are finally on the board for George Bell, his 64th run batted in of the replay. And it's now a 5-1 game. Here's Ernie Witt. (4-8) to the lefty, the pop up to first base. Robideau is there, 2 away. Now it's a clutch situation for Willie Upshaw. Upshaw in the clutch loses a hit on 3-10. Everywhere else he is the same. 1-5, and he's going to strike out, so Upshaw fails. Jays finally get on the board, but they only get one. They were looking for more than that, but they do get the one and get off the Schneid. But it's 5-1 as we go to the 5th here in Toronto. And this will be the fatigue game for Joe Johnson. So remember, I showed earlier, Mark Eichhorn pitched 2 2/3 yesterday, so he's unavailable. The designated long guy for them is Jose Nunez. He is their designated long reliever, so he is loosening in the bullpen in case Johnson falters even more than he's already done. Leading off for the Brew Crew, Cecil Cooper. Doubled and grounded to second. 4-8, and that's another ground ball to second. Andy Lee handles it, no problem. 1 away for Rob Deere. 5-4, and that's an in-home run straight up, no questions about it. Clean as can be, and no D20 needed. In-home run, and that's gone. Rob Deere crushes one. And Joe Johnson may not make it out of this inning. That is the 7th home run for Rob Deere on the replay. So he's definitely underperforming on his home runs. He had 28 of them, real world. He's just short of halfway through his at-bats, and he's only got 7. So a lot of guys overperforming on home runs. Rob Deere is underperforming on home runs. But it is his 7th home run and his 32nd run batted in. And more importantly, gets that run back for the Brewers. They now lead it 6-1. Here's Surhoff. 2-9, and that's a home run on a 1. 2-20 will be a double, and that's going to be it for Joe Johnson. Jimmy Williams doesn't want to see any more of Joe Johnson today. So they will go to the bullpen. And actually, they will not go to Nunez. They'd rather have Nunez start an inning. So they're going to go to a lefty. They're going to go to the lefty, Gary Lavelle, just to try to get him out of the inning against these lefties. So they'll use Lavelle to get out of the inning, then use Nunez to eat innings later on. But right now, they need somebody that can get them out of an inning pronto. So let's see, +1. So Johnson's going to go 4 1/3, and we'll do the rest later. Billy Joe Robideau is going to be your batter to face Lavelle. So we bring Lavelle in on the computer and get his numbers on the replay. And real world, obviously. Real world, he was 2-3 with 1 save and a 5.53 ERA. On the replay, he has been vulturing wins. He is 4-0. But his ERA is 7.20. 10 innings pitched, 14 hits, 8 walks, 9 strikeouts. He's been coming in when they're behind, and then the Blue Jays rally, and he gets the credit for the win. So he's done that quite a bit. They got a tall task to come back now at this point, but you never know. So here's Robideau. 3-3, and that's a fly to center, 2 down. And that'll take us to Rick Manning. Lefty on lefty matchup in the clutch. He does gain a hit on 2 spots, 2-3 and 2-8. Gains 2 hits. That's a 5-9, and that's a strikeout to end the inning. So Lavelle did his job. Keeps the Brewers from going any further in front. It is 6-1, though. We'll see if Lavelle comes back and pitches any more. Right now, this is Chuck Krim's fatigue inning. He also has a 5. So we'll keep an eye on him, but he does have a 6-1 lead to work with. So give him a little bit more yarn, so to speak. Some more coffee before this stuff gets cold. Here is Kelly Gruber, 6'8", and that's a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Swain, 3E25 for Swain. 3-16, he'll get to that. We're looking at the E25, that's a 14. E25, there's a 13 there, but no 14, so Swain is going to be okay with that. He will make the play on Gruber, and there's one away. For the Crime Dog, Fred McGriff. McGriff lined to Swain his first time up. 3-4, and this time he's going to fly it to right field where Rick Manning is there. 2 up, 2 down. The number 9 hitter, Manny Lee, struck out his first chance. 2-12, he's going to foul it out to Surhoff, and it's an easy 1-2-3 inning for Krim. He will keep full endurance into the 6th inning. Top of the 6th we go at 6-1. Lavelle, with Gantner coming up, they're going to go ahead and give Lavelle pitch another inning, or at least start the inning. Here's Gantner. 5-10, and that is a ground ball third base X. We are looking at Gruber, 3E24. 3-16, he'll get to that. E24, usually aren't many errors on 10s. Let's make sure that's the case here. Yep, 9 and 12 are errors, but not 10s, so easy play for Mr. Gruber. One away, and here comes Dale Swain, who homered his last time up. That was, of course, off of Joe Johnson. That's going to turn around, bat right-handed. 5-8, and that's a ground ball to second. So we're looking at Manny Lee, 3-32. 3-8. He'll get to that, I do believe. 3-8. Yep, G3 pound, but nobody's on base to be held, so he's good. That's a 9. E32 at second base. There is an 11 and a 15, but no 9. So Manny Lee makes the play. 2 up, 2 down. And that'll bring up Molitor. 4-8, and that's a base on balls. A walk to Molitor. Molitor will try for the lead. Needs a 4, 5, or 6. Does not get it, but that's a 1. He could be picked off. His get-back rate is a 14, and he gets back safely. So, but he can no longer establish a good lead, so he will hold. And here is Robin Yount. For 9, and that is a ground ball shortstop X. We're looking at Fernandez. He's a 1E17. We know he's going to get to it. It's just a 10 there, so that's no problem. E17, the only errors are 15, 16, and 17. So he gets to it, no issues. That will end the inning. And that will do it for Lavelle. Lavelle did his job, went an inning and 2/3. A walk and a strikeout, nothing else. I forgot to do the numbers on Johnson. Let me do that now before we continue into the next inning, or next half inning. Nunez will be coming on to pitch the top of the 7th for the Blue Jays. Let's go to our box score so I can get the official numbers on Joe Johnson. They weren't good, obviously, but they need to be recorded. So let's look at this box score. Joe Johnson, 4 1/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. Looks like 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Sure the hit number is correct. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, 8 hits is correct. Okay, so those are the numbers on Johnson. And of course, he's in danger of dropping to 1-7. Unbelievable. On a team that's this good, you could have a record of 1-7. But it's just been awful. No other way to say it. All right, here's Manny Lee. I'm sorry, not Manny Lee. He fouled out to end the last inning. It's actually Tony Fernandez. That's why I had the computer up. Computer's keeping me straight on who's batting. I didn't have that on Saturday, and it cost me, but I will have it going forward. You better believe that. Here's Fernandez, 2-2, and that's a low max. Nobody's on base, but it will be a line out right to Jimmy Gantner. One down, and that'll bring up Lloyd Mosby. 2 for 2, 5-6, and he's going to walk, so he continues. He keeps that 2 for 2 record. And that is the first walk issued by Krim. 1 walk and 3 strikeouts to this point. Down 6-1, they're not going to try to steal with Mosby. So we're going to go ahead and let the big guys, Barfield and Bell, have at it. Barfield, 1-8, and that's a single to center field. There's an anti-clutch there, but we're not in a clutch situation, so the single is good. Now the question is, let's see, they're going to, Mosby's a 17, being held as a 16. Yount's a +2, they're making it an 18. So they're going to send him to third base, and with Barfield being a 13 and them up 6-1, Yount will hit the cutoff man and keep Barfield at first. So let's put runners on the corners. But they don't want to throw to third and then have the runner go to second. Then you take the double play out of the equation. It's just a big mess. Want to minimize the damage. So now runners on the corners with 1 out for George Bell. 1 swing of the bat, and the Blue Jays will be right back in this game. 5-5, though, is a fly ball to right field C, so not deep enough. Manning in shallow right field makes the play. So now it's up to Ernie Witt in a clutch situation. In the clutch, Witt will gain a hit on 2-11 and 2-2. He's got 2 extra places he can find hits. 4-6, though, is going to be a fly to center, and that's going to end the inning. So Krim pitches around it and maintains a 6-1 lead. Not sure if that's going to be all for Krim or not. They might go to the bullpen from here. We shall see. Probably a wise move, because he's like I say, he's a former relief pitcher. He's not that stretched out. So I think we're going to cap Krim at 6 innings. So Krim, look at the numbers on Krim. Obviously, he's in line now to even his record at 2-2. On this game, Krim 6 innings, 5 hits and a run, which was earned. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and we'll figure out who the new pitcher is going to be in the bottom of the 7th. Right now, for the Blue Jays, Jose Nunez is going to come on and pitch. He is like their mop-up guy to eat. They want him to eat the last 3 innings and save the rest of the bullpen. So Nunez will be on. So we'll bring him on in the computer. Nunez. On the real season, Nunez 5-2 with a 5.01 ERA and no saves. On the replay, he's done progressively worse. He's 0-2 with a 9.46 ERA. 32 innings pitched, 43 hits, 30 walks in those 32 innings, and 41 strikeouts. So the walks have been getting to him, which is unusual because he pitched 97 innings real world with only 58 walks. But right now, he's almost got a 1-to-1 innings pitched to walk ratio. So that's kind of unusual. But he has a fatigue of 3, so he can finish out the game if need be. He is a +2 on the whole, but I don't think with it being 6-1 that the Brewers are going to do a lot of running, but you never know. And due up for the Brew Crew, Cecil Cooper, Rob Deere, and B.J. Surhoff, your scheduled hitters. You're in the top of the 7th. 2-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to short. Easy play for Fernandez. 1 away. And Nunez is probably just like Joe Johnson. He'd be better off having results come off the batter card. Here's Rob Deere. 6-6. Ground ball to second, so he does get the out there with Manny Lee. play. 2 up, 2 down for Nunez. And that'll bring up B.J. Surhoff. 3-6 for Surhoff, and that's a ground ball to short. So how about that? 3 easy ground outs for Jose Nunez. That'll certainly help his overall numbers. We will go to the bottom of the seventh inning stretch time. And we need to figure out, so let me pull the sheet from the previous game and see who pitched for Milwaukee. Mirabella, Clear, and Plesac, so they want to use somebody other than those guys. So we're probably looking at Chris Bosio. Bosio has the fatigue factor of 3, so he could pitch the rest of the game and earn a cheap save. So that's what they're going for. Chris Bosio is on. He is a +1 on his hold. Get the numbers on Bosio real world versus the replay. Chris Bosio. Bosio in the real season, 11-8 with a 5.24 ERA and 2 saves. On the replay, he's 2-0 with 4 saves and a 5.45 ERA. 40 innings pitched, 51 hits, 10 walks, 34 strikeouts. So Bosio is on, and he'll be facing Upshaw, Gruber, and McGriff for the Blue Jays. Still a 6-1 ball game. Bottom of the 7th. We're going to keep rolling here. No 7th inning stretch. We're going to keep it going. 2-5, and that is a fly to right field, 1 away. But in the with this 7th inning stretch, I usually announce what the next game is going to be, so I need to do that now. We'll be at the Metrodome tomorrow. 2 left-handers on the mound. Chicago White Sox, Minnesota Twins. It'll be Floyd Bannister for the White Sox and Frank Viola for the Twins. That'll be tomorrow. That will be tomorrow. I'm thinking about, but not sure about, Friday. I may do doubleheader Friday because the A's and the Rangers play a doubleheader, real-world doubleheader on this date. So I might feel bold and try to do both games of the doubleheader in one sitting. Might be a tall task, but I might try for it. All right. Here is Kelly Gruber. 5-5, and that's a ground ball to second. Easy play for Gantner. 2 up and 2 down. And that will take us to Fred McGriff. 1-7 for McGriff, and he's a strikeout victim. Easy 1-2-3 inning for Bosio. We go to the 8th. Still 6-1. Brewers seemingly comfortably in front. Nunez back out for his 2nd inning of work. He went 1-2-3 in the 1st inning. It's Robideau, Manning, and Gantner. 2 up. 1-10 for Robideau. That's a ground ball to third. Easy play for Molitor. I'm sorry, for Gruber. So no problems there. So 4 outs in a row to start his outing by Mr. Nunez. Very unusual for him. Here's Rick Manning. 6-11. That's a ground ball shortstop X. We know Fernandez is going to get to it. He's a 1. The E17, the only errors are 15, 16, and 17. He's nowhere near that, so he makes the play. 2 down. And that takes us to Jimmy Gantner. 4-8. Struck him out. So Nunez, how about that? 6 up and 6 down for Nunez. So he certainly ate his Wheaties today, apparently, because he's doing very well for himself. Bosio will come out for the bottom of the 8th. Due up for the Blue Jays. Scheduled hitter is Manny Lee. I believe we'll get a pinch hitter for that. We're going to have a pinch hitter for Manny Lee. He will be called back. I need to go to the Blue Jay bench, not the Milwaukee bench. And they will go with Rance Mullenix. A left-hander will pinch hit for Lee. And he will stay in the game to play third base, and they will move Gruber to second base. Gruber will move to second base. So Mullenix pinch hitting in the 8th and plays third base in the 9th. Get the numbers on Mullenix. See how he is doing on the replay versus real world. Mullenix on the replay is hitting .364, 7 homers, 25 driven in. He hit .310 real world. So he's done very well in the replay. So Mullenix is going to see if he can kickstart something for the Jays here in the 8th inning. 5-3, and that's a fly ball right field. Actually, looking at Manning, he's a 1, so we know he's going to get to it. But he is an E15, and that can cause problems. E15 for a right fielder. There's a lot of numbers here, 3, 4, 6, and then 12, 14, 17, and 18. So a lot of numbers you can hit as an E15 outfielder. That's a 15. Somehow he avoided it. He's an E15. 14's an error, 17's an error, 12 and 18 are errors, but not a 15. So Rick Manning does make the play, and Mullenix is out of there, 1 away. Back to the top of the order for Tony Fernandez. He's also 0 for 3. When your leadoff guy is 0 for 3, it kind of puts a damper on your success. 4-10, and that's a fly ball to right. Another fly out. This one much easier for Rick Manning. 2 up, 2 down. For Lloyd Mosby. Mosby's 2 for 2 with a walk thrown in. 6-10, and let's see, fly ball center field X. Yount's a 2E6. This could drop, but not likely. 2 and 18, he'll get to that. E6, and that is an 8 in center field. There is no 8 there for a center fielder, so 3 flyouts will take care of the Blue Jays here in the 8th. And now the computer is prompting me to put in a new second baseman, which I will do. We will put Mullenix at third base, and we'll move Gruber to second. Gruber's a 4E23 at second. Mullenix is a 4E31 at third. So, top of the 9th, Nunez retired all 6 he has faced. Definitely helping the Blue Jays with their bullpen, not overworking their bullpen. Dale Swain is out to lead it off. See how we're doing here. Make sure I'm not. Nope, we got plenty of room here. Actually, I could probably go a little closer. Maybe. I don't know. I only cut 2. No, that's too far. So let's leave it back here. All right. So here we go. Dale Swain. 1-9. That's a fly to center. And boy, Nunez 7 for 7. And not pitching like a guy who had an ERA over 9 when the game started. So 1 away, and here comes Molitor. 6-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to second. Easy play for the new second baseman, Gruber. I tell you, put a new guy in a certain position, the ball will find you. And it certainly did there. 2 down for Robin Yount. 6-9, and that's a base on balls. First base runner allowed by Nunez. And since it's 6-1 in the 9th inning, we will not have Yount try to steal. Here comes Cecil Cooper. He is 1 for 5. 1 for 4, rather. (6-4). Oh, look at this. 6-4 is a home run. 1-11. That's a 2. It's gone. So Nunez, let's give a close-up here because Nunez must be running out of gas. 6-4 on a left-handed card. Right there, a 1-11 home run off of the Nunez card on a 6-4. And Cooper obviously has normal power. So it is gone. Cecil Cooper, a 2-run home run, kind of puts the coup de grace in this game. Making it now 8-1 Brewers, and they're going to end up winning 3 out of 4 on the road against their toughest competitor, the Blue Jays. Kind of getting some separation in the standings. Home run number 8 for Cecil Cooper. He only had 6 real world. He's got 8 home runs now. RBIs 24 and 25. And they might as well go ahead and let Nunez finish out just to, they don't want to waste anybody else out of the bullpen. Deer, 5-11. That's a ballpark blast there, 1-11, and that's gone. So Deer goes back-to-back to make it 9-1. And for Deer, that's his second home run of the game, his 8th on the replay. Back-to-back jacks. Nunez is now tired, but the Blue Jays are insistent they are not going to waste another bullpen arm on a blowout. So it's going to be Nunez, and he'll pitch till his arm falls off. Here's B.J. Surhoff. 2-8 for Surhoff, and that is a 1-5 triple. That's a 6, so it's settled with a single. And the hits are mounting up, but they really don't want to go to their bullpen. I mean, they could bring a position player in to pitch, I suppose, but they just don't want to burn another bullpen arm. Here's Robideau. 6-4, and that's an in-home run chance. 1-11 is an 18. That'll be a triple, but Robideau had no triple, so we'll hold him to a double. That's my house rule when they have no triples, but I will treat the base runners as if it was a triple. It's a double 3 stars is what it turns into. So it's an RBI double for Robideau, and is now 10-1. Abraham Lincoln 4-score inning. Nunez out of gas, but Jimmy Williams says it's up to you, buddy. 3-8, and he finally gets out of it with a fly to right to end the inning. But obviously Nunez will not pitch for a couple days after this. He's going to go 3 innings. Had a great outing until that inning. Gave up 4 runs in that 1 inning. Everything he gave up was in this inning. So that's 4 hits and a walk. And he had a strikeout. 10-1 Brew Crew. And of course, the odd save rule is that Basio can still earn the save even though it's a 10-1 game because he's going to pitch 3 innings of relief. And that defaults to a save. Whether you like that rule or not, that's what the rule is. So he is going for the save. Actually, no, he's not. We're not going to give him a cheap save. He's got enough saves already. He overdid his saves. So he's going to go 2 innings, give up nothing, and strike out 1. And they're going to bring in Jay Aldrich just to get an inning of work in. He's a horrible pitcher, but you got to pitch him sometime, and when you're up 10-1, that's the best time to pitch him. Jay Aldrich. Or do we go to John Henry Johnson? I'm not sure who we're going to go to. Let's see who they decide to go to here. Who needs the work? Not John Henry Johnson, that's for sure. Aldrich can definitely use the work. He hasn't pitched much at all, so Aldrich is coming on. Numbers on Aldrich on the real season, 3-1 with a 4.94 ERA and no saves. On the replay, he's pitched a lot better. He's no win-loss record of 2.25 ERA and 1 save. 8 innings pitched, 7 hits, a walk, and 3 strikeouts. So Jay Aldrich will come in and mop up duty, facing Barfield, Bell, and Witt. Not that it matters because they're not going to run anywhere. He is a -3 hole. All right, here's Aldrich to Barfield. It's a 2-5, and that's a ground ball to third. Easy play from Mahler. So I was hoping for a close game, but I had a feeling with the pitching matchup we were going to get a lot of runs, but I thought it would come both ways. I didn't realize Krim would shut down the Blue Jays. Here's Bell. 2-9 for Bell. That's a line out to third. Playing pepper with Paul Molitor over there. Last chance saloon. It's Ernie Witt. That's a 5-4, and that's a fly ball center field X. We're looking at Robin Yount, 2-E6 to end the game. 2-9, he'll get to it. The only thing we're looking at now is E6, and the only errors on E6 are 4, 3, 15, and 18, and that is a 12. So he will make the play, and that's going to do it. Aldrich goes 1 inning, gives up nothing. Blue Jays stymied. 1 run on 5 hits is all they could muster. They did commit an error. For the Brewers, 10 runs on 12 hits and no errors. Winning pitcher is Chuck Krim. He's now 1-2. The loser is Johnson. He's now Krim is 2-2. Johnson is now 1-7. And the Brewers just keep extending their lead in the American League East. Go to the box score, get the final results, and get you set up for tomorrow. Go to our standings. And as of right this second, the Brewers now improved to 45-20. Blue Jays fall to 42-25. They are now 4 games back of the Brewers. So the Brewers have made up 2 games on them. The series started with Toronto within 2 games. They won the first game to get it within 1 game, and then the Brewers won the last 3 to make it 4 games. Yankees and Tigers are tied at 8 games back in the American League East. But that's that, and we move over to the next game on the schedule, which is going to come from the Metrodome. Hopefully it's a better game. It'll be game number 465. White Sox and the Twins. White Sox come into the game 29-35. And the Twins come into the game 32-35. So that'll be our game for tomorrow. Hope everybody enjoyed that presentation of Strat-O-Matic Super Advanced. Of course, on Saturday, we'll be back to Fall Classic for the NBC Game of the Week in 1979. Between the Rangers and the Yankees from Yankee Stadium. It'll be Ferguson Jenkins for the Rangers and Catfish Hunter for the Yankees. And in the meantime, between that, I am seriously thinking of doing one other thing. I haven't decided yet what that's going to be. Maybe some other little spiff to go on between these two, to partner with these two, I should say. Something that's hopefully not too taxing, but just something to add a little bit of variety, so to speak, because variety is the spice of life, as they say. So that's going to do it from here. I hope you all have a great Wednesday, the rest of your day. Hope it's off to a good start. Hope the weather's nice where you are. Until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I will see you all down the road.